Hey guys, welcome to Foodies Live. We're streaming from the SubZero Wolf Showroom Kitchen in Scottsdale, Arizona. And today we're joined by Chef Bevin O'Neill from Chick Rotisserie and The Grind. And he's going to show us how to make some wild boar, basil gnocchi, Tuscan kale with an heirloom pesto. And he's also going to talk to us a little bit about farmers markets. So with that, I'll kick it over to Chef Bevin.
Hi, I'm Chef Bevin O'Neill from Chick Rotisserie and The Grind restaurant. Today we're going to be making some wild boar. I have some right here. Heirloom tomato pesto, Tuscan kale, and a little potato gnocchis. We got the kale and the tomatoes from the Old Town Scottsdale Farmers Market, and I believe we have some footage from that.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
And
go. Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And go.
Okay. We're here at the Farmers Market in Old Town Scottsdale. They do it every, I think it's Saturday and Sunday. It's kind of early. I was at the restaurant late last night, and now I'm here in the morning. So forgive me if I seem tired and bewildered. Okay. Yeah. So I saw this wicked kale right here. This is a Tuscan kale. It's a more fibrous kale than a domestic kale. What's really neat too is it has more of like the kind of alien type features, which is really neat. And I really love kale. It's, you know, not only is it great for you, but it's a little bit more mild than say a mustard green or a collard green. Yet you still get that same strong green leafy texture. We're definitely going to use this for the wild boar and gnocchis dish for sure. Okay, so let's see what else we got. At the restaurant, we like to use as much local purveyors as we can. Utilizing the local farmer markets is also great for you at home. The quality and the variety of the products you'll have is just second to none. You'll love it. So we're definitely going to use these golden tomatoes. These are really fun. And you know, they make everything, they give it like a bright yellow color. And then right here we have super duper sexy Italian heirloom tomatoes. Basically all an heirloom tomato is, it's a crossing of an old vine and a young vine to kind of make this natural mutation. What's nice about heirloom tomatoes is that you'll have a more intense, stronger tomato flavor that'll come from the old vine. Okay, what we'll do is we'll make a roasted tomato and kale pesto, and we'll toss it with our basil gnocchis and wild boar. It'll be really crazy cool and fun, delicious, and all that good stuff. Well, I really wish I had one of these on every corner. Oh, man. Okay, so that was our fun little excursion to the farmers market. In addition to the farmers market in Old Town, there's one across the street from our restaurants, Chick and The Grind on 40th and Camelback. During the summer, I don't believe they're open, but they should start back up in the fall. Anyone at home, I really encourage you to give your local dollars to the local farmers markets. We can keep those things going. Okay, so now we're going to go to basil gnocchis. The reason why I'm doing this dish is I've had guests tell me before that they've had a hard time making gnocchis, or there's a lot of fear in making gnocchis. And what I've developed is a recipe that's kind of idiot-proof. Even the guys that work for me, they don't even speak English. They can make the gnocchis, so I thought I would bring that. So all we have here is, this is just a potato. It's one potato that was boiled, and then I just kind of mashed it with a fork. Just kind of like this, just to kind of get it like pureed. And now we're going to add some basil. This is some nice fresh basil. We're going to do a little chiffonade action. The part that seems to be challenging for home cooks with making gnocchis is the part when they boil it in the water. The feedback I've gotten is, oh, I put it in the water and then it disintegrated. And that will be a product of having your flour and egg ratio not right with the potatoes. So what I came up with was a way you could bake them.
and then you don't have to deal with the water, and it's kind of hard to mess it up at that point. So we got a ton of basil in there because we want to really get that through. We're going to get some flour in here, and some nice fresh farm eggs. Get that in there.
Nice.
And get that in there.
How did you come up with this?
I had messed up a bunch of gnocchis. I had winged it one day in a hurry and didn't follow like a specific recipe. I just kind of, like in a kitchen term, but just kind of eyed it. And I blew it, dude, a bunch of times. And I didn't want to go to the internet and go find a recipe. And amongst some cursing, I came up with, dude, what if I bake it? I think you can bake them too. And I baked them, and they were money. And after that, I said, well, okay, I'm gonna keep on, doing them. So we got a good amount of egg in there. That's probably a little too much, but this is good because I'm gonna show you how to fix it on air. So we're adding more flour, just to get it kind of like a dough kind of thing. Kind of mixing it up. I tend to do a lot of free-form cooking or freestyle cooking. I think it's because I have a short attention span. And one of the good things with that, something I definitely encourage people at home, is by making mistakes, a lot of times you find how to fix stuff. And I'll tell you, I straight up got dishes on my menu right now that started off as a mistake. And then I played with it and I played with it until it came out money, and it's delicious and perfect now. But it started off, its first version was kind of a mistake. So we're getting the dough here. You're going to notice that it really feels and looks like a dough. Okay, we're going to get a little bit more flour in here because I got too aggressive with the egg, but whatever. It's all groovy in the kitchen. Here we go. Now we're starting to look right.
The flour makes it money.
Yeah, the flour, gives it that kind of dough kind of thing. Let's see. So now we'll get on this cutting board here, and we'll start to roll it out. It's going to stick on your fingers and stuff, but that's part of the fun. If you want to look like you're really professional, you can even throw some flour on your apron if you want, and then you look like you're working really hard. I don't know, whatever. Anytime it comes to visiting, I just throw flour on myself. Oh, I'm working, dude. Oh, dude, I'm banging it out right now.
I do that, and I don't even work in the kitchen.
Right before your dinner guests come see you, just throw some flour on yourself. You look really professional and like you're really banging it out. So here we go. We got our dough. So you see how it's kind of pliable now, like a dough. It's kind of left the mashed potato vibe, and now it's gotten more into like a dough vibe. That's the idea. So here we go. We're doing that.
Banging it out.
Getting a little aggressive with the flour right now, but that's okay. And then now we're gonna roll it out and turn it into a gnocchi, but I'm gonna wash my hands first, okay?
And I just wanted to remind viewers really quick, if you have any questions, please post them either on Twitter or on Ustream on our channel, even on our website, foodieslive.com. And we'll get them answered by Chef Bevin.
I would just like to remind the viewers that I'm incredibly single. If anyone wants to call me. So here we go.
We'll get his number posted later, ladies.
We'll do that. So here we go. We're going to roll it out a little bit. We don't have to kill it because we don't want to over knead it, because we want it to be really soft and fluffy. I've heard people call gnocchis little pillows of love, and that's definitely the kind of texture and the vibe we're going for. So I really just kind of got it together. So now I'm rolling it, okay? And now we're just rolling. That's all. Rolling it into like a little ropey kind of thingy. Okay, here, I'll even get this way. This is probably a little better. What's really neat, you can see the basil all in it. That's really cool. It makes me happy and stuff. Okay, so little weird things make me happy. Okay, so we're going to put some oil in the pan. I preheated the oven to 450. The reason why I did that is the potatoes are already cooked, because remember I boiled it first. So what this is going to do is it's going to make it kind of a little bit of crunchy, like a roasted potato, on the outside in a short amount of time. And then the center is going to be really nice and soft and fluffy. Something neat too, like if you touch it, look how squishy and nice and beautiful and pillowy it is. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So, kind of like when I came last time, I did the chicken. I showed my little shortcut for the trussing. I've seen, gnocchis made on TV, and there's a full production team, and it's this, superstar chef and all this kind of stuff. And they're using a fork and they're rolling it, and it's got these cool little rivets in it and everything. And you look at that and you're like, oh, dude, I can't do that, right? So me, I like to make things easy and stuff. So what I like to show you is if you just cut it like that, you get cool little pillows, and then, you don't have to do all that extra work. You know what I mean? It still looks cool. So we'll put them on here, okay? Get this guy on here.
Chef, if you add too much flour, will it become crumbly or?
No,
like
it'll get drier. You definitely want the potato to be the star. The flour is more of a binding agent for the egg than like the dough.
Oh, okay.
So here we go, nice and rustic, really kind of natural, I'm not trying to make it too perfect. I tend to do that in general, as I don't try to make stuff look too perfect. I know that I might be sacrilegious to say that, because there's a lot of all-star chefs making stuff look really perfect, but I'm kind of a kooky guy, man. I kind of embrace the natural imperfections of the world and human beings as well in food. I don't know. I'm not always trying to make it that perfect. So here we go. We're doing it in the oven. It's 450. We'll get our gnocchi put to the side. And now we're going to transition onto our next item. But first, I'm going to wash my hands. I'm a little bit of a clean freak. Sorry. Which is probably a good habit as a chef. So
always good habit.
Yeah, those things are baking, nice and rustic and cool and real looking, not fake and processed. Okay, so the next thing, let's talk about the wild boar while I'm getting the heirloom tomatoes ready. So wild boar, it has more of a, it seems more exotic or more crazy than it actually is, because it's not part of a traditional menus and households, but really all it is, it's a wild pig. And this wild boar is from Texas. It's running around, it's eating acorns, it's eating pine nuts, it's living off the land, it's running around, and it's pumping, sugars into its flesh. So it's a very sweet pork flavor. The flavor profile I liken it to is sweet Italian sausage. It's not gamey at all. When I do it at the restaurant, I have guests ask me a lot of questions. What's the flavor like? And they're always shocked when I tell them it's like sweet Italian sausage. It's not going to taste like bullets and chewing tobacco or something, because it's a wild boar. I get the wild boar from my buddies down at Sterling Meats. I believe we're posting their phone number.
Yes.
And I set it up that viewers of the show, if you guys want to be like the cool guy at the barbecue and you want to order a case of wild boar, you can go ahead and do that. Call the number, order a case of it, say, you saw from the show. And when everyone else shows up with burgers and hot dogs to the grill, you can show up with your own cool wild boar patties and be Mr. Foodie Live guy. But and it's it's delicious and fun and all that kind of stuff. They're great for other meats as well, like elk and buffalo, bison, and even though you're not a restaurant, they'll still hook you up and sell it to you.
Nice. Okay,
So right here we have the beautiful heirloom tomatoes that we got at the farmer's market. Here are the yellows and the reds, and then I did a little pre-cooking at the restaurant just to save some time, but we're gonna finish it in the oven. All that happened was it was quartered, there was some basil, some garlic, salt and pepper, a little olive oil, and now we're popping it in the oven.
Chef, we actually have a question from Liz from San Mateo.
Okay.
She wanted to know what else you can do with wild boar. You said making patties with it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you treat it just like Any other
Yeah,
meat?
you know, at the grind, I cook it like it's a burger. I mean, we make straight up burger patties with it and serve it. Last week, the special we did with it, it had house pulled mozzarella and arugula and a red wine reduction sauce.
Wow.
In this case, we're gonna saute it up, crumbled, and it's great with like pastas and ragouts. You know, you could take the same tomato paste pesto and cook it down with the wild boar, and now you have a cool wild boar tomato ragu that you could serve with stuff. And yeah, you know, you can get all kinds of crazy with it.
Get crazy with it.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll turn these guys on and get this thing going. And now, while we're cooking that stuff, we'll talk about the kale. So there's a lot of different varieties of kale. The most common is what I call domestic kale, which is the smaller leaves, the ones that are about like that size. They're a little more of like a purplish color. The great thing about kale is it's extremely nutritious. It's really good for you. A nutritionist would probably know more about all the stuff. As a dumb chef, I just know like it's really good for you and people like it. So, but I know that part. Now, the Tuscan kale, not only does it look like something out of the movie Aliens or whatever, but it also kind of like a cousin of Swiss chard. I would kind of liken it to, kind of like a Swiss chard. And the flavor is, you know, it's kind of mild, which is nice because let's say you want like a really, you know, leafy thing, but you want to stay away from, as I was saying on the clip, mustard greens or collard greens or something. This is like a good go-to kind of product for that. So now we're going to make our heirloom tomato basil pesto. So we've roasted them in the oven. Oh wow, look at the gnocchis. You know, I'm going to flip them real quick too. So you see how they're just kind of baking and they're getting like a little crusty outside, and then the center is going to be all nice and soft and sexy. And you know, the little imperfections that I embraced when we were making them, if you notice, when you bake them out, they look kind of cool. They kind of like correct themselves during the baking, and they look real, dude. I don't know. I like them like that. I mean, I don't know. Some other chef is probably bagging me right now, going, "Oh, dude, they're not all perfect and all those squiggly lines." But I don't know. For me, dude, I don't get caught up in that kind of stuff. But that's me. So
Keeping it real.
Okay. Say what?
Keeping it real.
Yeah, I'm the keeping it real guy, wearing an old dirty bastard shirt on the farmer's market. So here we go. We're taking our tomatoes and our oil. Get all the goodies. All this stuff in here is flavor. You know, these little crunchy bits, like you see this with the garlic, the little like crunchier parts that got a little browner, but then you have these little white parts that didn't get cooked as much. For me, that's awesome because you're getting different degrees of garlicness, for lack of a more technical term. And then when it all gets buzzed together, I feel like you get, you know, more flavor, better flavor. If it was all totally like brown, then you would get kind of that bitter garlic kind of thing going on. But when oh wow, okay, we got really hot. I left the thing on. Okay. That's all right. We're fine.
Oh.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So we're scraping everything in here. Okay. Getting all the bits. Okay. And smoking pan. That will move to the other side because I left the thingy on. Okay. Cool. So
Was that some boar getting wild?
yeah. There we go. So here we have some fresh basil as well. You're gonna notice there's two types of basil. There's the crunchier basil in there, the stuff that got roasted, and then there's the fresh stuff. And I do that on purpose because it gives it different textures and kind of different flavors, and kind of going with the whole natural thing. And I don't know, I just kind of like it.
Chef, we have a question from Sandra from Irvine.
Okay.
She wanted to know about the heirloom tomatoes. Do different colors have different flavor profiles?
You know, that's a great question. Kind of, but not really. You know, yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily call it that, you know, different or yes and no, lightly different color.
Lightly.
So this right here is just some white wine. It's just some nice Pinot Grigio. Remember the rule with wine, don't ever cook with a wine you wouldn't drink, so. Yummy,
Good
buddy.
stuff.
All right, cool. So now we're just gonna buzz it. Oh yeah. Oh, dude. You see how you're getting like the little, well, hold on, let me finish.
Wow.
So you see how you're getting the little specks of like blackness and stuff in there? I train the guys at the restaurant, do not be afraid of that. Go for it, embrace it, because it's giving you more, like flavors and stuff.
Oh.
Okay, so here we got that. And let's eat it, because you always want to taste everything that you make. Beautiful, beautiful and
Nice.
sexy. I really wish I could
Beautiful and
serve
sexy.
everybody that's watching the show right now. That's the only bummer part about this. So a little salt and pepper. What's really neat too is you'll see how we have this beautiful, almost kind of like gazpacho type color, the kind of golden color. That's because we used all the different heirloom tomatoes, the yellows and the oranges and all the different stuff. Man, that's good. All right, who wants to eat it? Anyone want to try it? Come on, here, we'll give you a little thing over here. Here.
We have another question from the chat room too. They wanted to know if you can put too much garlic in.
That's a personal thing. I'm a garlic kind of guy. Here you go, Beth.
Oh, thanks.
Whenever I come visit you guys gotta eat, man. That's my rule. In a restaurant setting, you have to watch the garlic because you don't want the guests to go, oh, it's too garlicky, and then you get a guest complaint, it's a nightmare and everything. But like at home, I'm all for doing what you like, man. Eat it, embrace it, own it, serve it, and be like, this is my stuff, and it's got lots of garlic in it, and I'm, passionate about it, and deal with it. That's just kind of my philosophy on stuff. Okay, gnocchis. Oh, wow. Sexy, sexy, sexy. Oh, dude. Okay, so we gotta check this out. Look at this, dude. You see how we have the cool, are we catching this?
Yes.
We got the cool golden brown thing on the outside, okay? But then look how, dude, this makes me so freaking happy. So, and then see how squishy it is, dude? So you have the crunchy outside, and then you have the squishy inside. I mean, that's the whole magic of doing like this. And then look how cool it looks. That looks like real, honest food, not, overly strategized, meticulously. I mean, I dig that stuff too, but that's just not, whatever. It's not what I'm doing. Okay, so now we're gonna put it all together. Okay, so
Put it all together.
Let's brown a pan. Now we're gonna brown a pan separately with a little butter, and we're not gonna forget to turn it off this time and make odd popping sounds and smoke. And then we're gonna add it to our gnocchi and pesto and kale and stuff, because we want it to be really nice and clean and not greasy and that kind of stuff. So I'm a butter kind of guy, so we're getting that butter going. Okay, so we got that. We'll take our wild boar that's already ground up for me, for my buddies at Sterling Meats. We'll just kind of get it in there and just kind of brown it.
Do you know, does Sterling ship outside of Arizona as well, or is...
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. I would assume they would. I mean, most businesses never want to turn down a sale.
Yeah.
I think if someone calls them and says, hey, I'm in Irvine, I saw your stuff, I want some, they'd probably ship it to them. So I just touched wild boar, so I'm washing my hands. I want everyone to know at home that I'm not cross-contaminating anything. I'm good like that. Okay?
Oh, it's a good call.
So now
good
we'll
reminder.
go with a little salt, a little pepper. Okay, let's get a little more aggressive with that pepper. Right. So now, little brownie brown. See how we're getting little groovy little sear marks right there? So at this point, you want to stop. The reason why is we just want to kind of get some color. But you see how we're still a little undercooked here? Well, that's good because we don't want to cook it all the way through, dry it out, over crisp it. We want to just kind of let it hang out. We did a little brownie brown. And now we'll go to this guy, if we can get it lit.
That actually, we had a question from JC in Phoenix, just wanting to know if there are any tricks or tips to cooking wild boar.
You know, no, I would say that, but then again, I'm the less is more guy, so maybe I'm not the best person for this question, but what I do at the restaurant and what I'm doing right now is I'm cooking it just like as if it was ground pork.
Oh, okay.
At the restaurant, I'll even sell it mid-rare. Some guests want it that way. You know, there's a misconception about the whole trichinosis thing, and you can't eat pork, you know, mid-well, medium, mid-rare, whatever. That's totally wrong. That trichinosis hasn't existed for a long time, or at least it doesn't in quality meats. I might need to clarify that, like in more quality pork products. And no, I would just cook it straight up, you know, however you want it. Okay, so we're getting it going. We're not getting it too hot. Now we're gonna get our beautiful alien kale going.
Alien kale.
Okay, kind of get that thing sauteed up. I brought some whole roasted garlic cloves. Just get up in there. And the person who's asking about the garlic, if you notice with me, I'm being pretty liberal with it, and because I love garlic, so it doesn't scare me, you know. So a little flippity flip. You want to salt and pepper at every stage as we're building our flavors. Okay, and then now's the fun part, at least what I think is the fun part, because I like to deglaze stuff. We're gonna get that wine, and I might even drink a little bit more because I like Pinot Grigio.
Out of a classy glass,
yeah,
nonetheless.
Only the best for you, Beth. And then deglaze, because right now we're building a sauce. So we got this right here. We're gonna jack it up. All I did with this kale is I just chopped it, stems and all, kind of like a wide chiffonade. And then I blanched it for 10, 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, cooled it off and brought it with me. That was the only step that happened besides this. I encourage people at home to not over blanch it, because for me, then you lose that nice toothsome fibrousness of it. Okay, so you could start off with your gnocchis and sear them, but we already did in the oven. And so to me, this is great because I'm kind of lazy in some ways, and I already did the searing in the oven. It's all right there. So that's done. We got that in there. So get a little toss, get everybody in there, get everybody happy. And then now we're gonna finish our wild boar in here. Okay.
That looks pretty
good. You see all this fat and all this kind of stuff that we didn't put into our final product. Wild boar is also a little bit leaner than regular pork. So for those that are on the health tip, this is kind of a nicer product as well. And then straining out that fat also helps with that. You know, I think I'll put a little bit more in here. Yeah, all right, cool. So now we're gonna add our heirloom tomato basil pesto. As you can see, our white wine is reducing. Everybody's in here, everybody's getting happy. All right, kind of like that. And then we're gonna let everything kind of cook down together. Oh, wow. I'm getting really excited, dude. This is really neat. Okay. What's neat about this dish, by the way, is it's a total mashup of two things I do at either of my restaurants. So the gnocchis we use in our chicken gnocchi soup at Chick, the tomato basil pesto we do at Grind. the wild boar is something I do as a regular special at the grind. I kind of took all the components and made this just for the show or whatever. So, getting it around.
The best of both worlds.
Yeah, looking really neat. Okay, and now we're gonna finish it with some butter. Just because, I like to get down like that. So
Just
what
to
the butter's
sexify
gonna
it.
do is it's gonna really smooth it out, kind of give it a really nice shimmer and shine. It's also gonna thicken it up a bit too. So get that going. Oh wow, this is pretty. See, I love stuff like this, like really rustic, honest, real looking food. I don't know, it's just my thing, I dig it.
So since
Wow.
the wild boar has less fat, do you have to add more oil when you're cooking
No,
it?
not necessarily. I cooked it with the butter because I'm a butter kind of guy. Pretty much, I put butter in cereal, dude. I'm like, that's my thing. But no, you could totally just let's say you want to be the cool guy at the barbecue, and you want to bring some some boar patties. You can just lightly rub it with oil so it doesn't stick on the grill, and grill it.
Good
You
to
can
go.
saute it. No, I mean it doesn't need that. It does have enough fat that it'll be fine. Okay, so now we've done all our cooking. You see how we're at a nice thickness on the sauce? It's not too thin. It's not too thick. Kind of nappe. Use a French term. So I know that stuff too. That's exactly what we want. In fact, I think I'm gonna give it a little bit more love. Just kind of cook it a little bit more. I mean, it's basically there, but we want to get it so it thickens up a little bit, kind of like a ragu. So in the meantime, all I'll do is I'll just chiffonade some basil real quick so that we can garnish the top of it, and then we can eat it. Does anybody
Nice.
have any questions or anything? Or chiffonading?
While you're chiffonading.
Yeah.
We did have one other question.
Okay.
It was just more about what other kinds of exotic meats have you experimented with?
Groovy, I love it. Great question. A very dear subject to myself, as along with my hatred for the commercial American farming industry. There's all these great meats out there, and I don't know how it happened, but somehow more mystery or apprehension or whatever has gone towards these meats, and I don't know why, because in the early days of man or whatever, we were eating all that stuff. It's got to be part of that whole processed product stuff that I'm so religiously against. But I've done at Grind, I've done everything from elk burgers, bison burgers, venison, you name it. In fact, I'm so into it that once a month we do what I call semi-exotic meat, just for fun. And what's neat is at the Grind, we have a very broad demographic. You'll get younger guys, skinny jeans and tattoos and stuff that have never tried that stuff. And then they try it for the first time because they come to the restaurant and this is their time, they're gonna experiment or whatever. And they love it and get all into it, and then after that they want more, right? And then you get kind of the older dudes that maybe they used to hunt or something, maybe they don't anymore, or they grew up eating that kind of stuff. And I literally have a guy who calls me every week to ask when am I doing the next one, and what time should he come, to come get it or whatever. And it really into it. So I'm all for it, man. That stuff is a great way to broaden your horizons.
Definitely.
Okay. So should we keep it here? Or?
Yeah, you put it.
Okay. So this is basil infused gnocchis, wild boar, heirloom tomato, and white wine pesto, served with a little chiffonade basil.
Wow.
Who's
that looks
gonna eat it?
amazing.
I know I'm gonna eat it.
You're gonna
Anyone
eat
else?
it? You gonna dig in?
I'll drink my wine out of this cup and I'll eat my wild boar gnocchis.
He is available, ladies.
Dude. I don't care if I may or not. This is fucking. Oh, this is amazing. Wow.
We kept it G-rated up until.
Yeah, I could only maintain for so long. Dude.
It looks amazing.
Yo. Somebody eat it.
Go ahead there, Nico.
Let's eat it on camera.
We're gonna show it on camera there. Well,
I'll even share my wine out of a plastic cup with you.
very
Anything
nice.
else?
That's it.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you to Chef Bevin. And I'm sure he'll be joining us again very soon. And we'll be back next Tuesday, same time, 3:30. So please join us then. And thanks again, guys, for tuning in.
How long of a segment was that?
That's a little out of your league, don't you think?
The whole salmon.
You do have a backup plan, though, right? You know, like catering. Do they even like fish?
Make your meals, even the ambitious ones, come out just right.
You're actually enjoying this, aren't you?
The power, finesse, and ease of Wolf cooking instruments
Okay.
leave no room for doubt.
You've changed.